the next part, another KB Bank Global Consultant expert, Iris So, will discuss DCplan and default option. Hi, Iris.
Hi, Mr. Cho and everyone watching this seminar. This is Iris So from KB Bank Global Pension Consulting Department. And in the following chapter, I will introduce the basics of DCplan and the default option scheme. So, in the first chapter, I'm actually briefly introduce what DCplan is. And here, let me briefly recap it once again. So, the DCplan is one of the corporate pension plan. And under this plan, employees open their DC account in a financial institution which is under contract as a pension vendor with company. And the company will make predefined amount of contribution to your DC account, and you can manage reserve by choosing what kind of products to invest.
All right, now I understand what defined contribution DCplan is. Then when can employees receive their retirement benefits? Can employees make withdrawal if any time needed?
Yes, you can make an interim withdrawal. However, it is only permissible under 5 specific circumstances defined by law. The most common reasons for withdrawing retirement benefit is to purchase a house or to pay the rent. But only people who do not own a house can apply for a withdrawal for this purpose. And please be aware that for the purpose of paying the rent, you can only withdraw benefit once during current employment with the company. So apart from these reasons, the other legal grounds for an interim withdrawal is when you get first, bankruptcy declaration, or second, undergoing rehabilitation procedures, and third, when you get certain amount of damages caused by natural disasters.
Okay, to summarize what you mentioned, the interim withdrawal can be made only in cases of housing purposes, use of medical expenses, officially recognized financial difficulties, and losses caused by natural disaster.
Yeah, that's correct. And except for these 5 legal grounds, you can receive accumulated retirement benefit only when you leave the company. And the amount of total benefit would be sum of accumulated employer contribution and your investment return. So, as you can see in the graph in the slide, depending on your investment choices and its results, your retirement benefit amount can vary.
Okay, I see. Then what kind of investment options are there available?
There are various investment options in a DCplan, and for those who prefer principal interest guaranteed, also known as PIG, you can invest in time deposits, GICs, ELB, and etc. And for people who are interested in investment opportunities, you can explore a range of options including ETFs, target date fund, mutual funds, and etc. And with these products, you can make your own portfolio to manage your account. And under DC account, there are no extra fees involved when changing investment product. So you can rebalance your portfolio at any time as desired.
Okay, given that the amount of retirement benefit can vary depending on how it is managed, DC participants would be highly interested in investing DC reserves. Am I right?
It would have been very great and very grateful if that were the case. However, the reality seems to be a little different. And as of 2022, the amount of retirement pension reserve has exceeded 300 trillion Korean won, and accumulated retirement savings has been increasing more than 10% annually. But as many Korean people have stable or semi-stable risk appetite, more than 80% of total retirement pension reserve is invested into principal interest guaranteed product. And these PIG investing subscribers has never changed their asset allocations ever since their first contract. And as you can see, this explains the mere 1.94% of average return of retirement pension in Korea. So looking at these graphs and figures, the government seems to concluded that retirement pension holders have little interest in managing their reserve.
All right. Did you just say that the average annual return of total retirement pension is 1.94% point over past 5 years? It's way lower than I thought. I guess that's why the government come up with a new regulation.
That's so much correct. So Korean government is introducing the default option scheme. So first, to assist retirement subscribers to pick high quality investment product, and to second, to draw attention in pension management, and for the last third, to improve a performance return of pension reserve.
I see. Then could you explain, please, what default option is and how it works?
Yeah, sure. That's why I'm here. So the default option is introduced in July 12th last year. And under the default option, if participant doesn't give operational instructions on their reserve, the assets are automatically invested into the default option product which participants designated in advance. And this is only applied to DC and IRP account.
Seeing the name default option, it seems like that there is only one default option product. Am I correct in my understanding?
I understand why you thought like that, but actually that's not true. So unlike default option in 401k or other countries, under Korean default option scheme, each pension vendors have like 7 to 10 default option products, which is approved by Ministry of Labor. And the default option product is classified into 4 risk levels: the lowest, low risk, medium risk, and high risk. And there is 1 or 2 products in each risk level. So to choose a default option product, you have to undergo a risk profile analysis first. And after confirming your risk appetite, you can choose only one default option product that aligns with your investment risk appetite among this lineup. And you can easily confirm your risk appetite in mobile application, internet website, or by visiting nearest branch.
Okay. So once you designate a default option product, is it possible to change it afterwards?
Sure. Subscribers can change their default option whenever they want, and there is no limits in numbers of times of changing it.
Then, that's a good news then. I like to designate my default option right away. Can subscribers designate their default option product immediately, like right now?
I'm so glad you're saying so. But if you're an IRP account holder, yes, you can designate it right now. However, like in case of DC subscribers, your company must implement the default option in advance. So if you are really interested in designating the default option product, just please check with your company to see whether it's available or not. So along with the default option scheme, there is one another big change in regulation, which is the abolition of automatic re-enrollment system. So once you designated your default option product, the automatic reinvestment will be stopped immediately in your account. However, if you haven't chosen one yet, the automatic reinvestment will be suspended starting from July 12th. So from now on, I'll explain the changes within the diagram in the slide. So before the abolition of automatic reinvestment system, when you were investing into one-year time deposit, for example, and it meets its maturity in June 25th, it is automatically reinvested into the same product unless you give a specific operational instructions to change it to other products. However, from July 12th or right after you designate your default option product, this automatic reinvestment will not going to work at all. So, as a same example, when one-year time deposit meets its maturity date in June 25th, the assets will automatically goes into a cash settlement. And if you designated your default option product already, the matured asset will stay in cash for 6 weeks in maximum and will be automatically invested into the default option product and after the waiting period. But in this case, if you haven't chosen your default option product yet, the money will stay in cash until you give further instructions.
All right, let me be clear with my understanding. To sum up, after the abolition of the automatic reinvestment system, unless subscribers give operational instructions, the matured asset will stay in cash settlement forever. But wouldn't the interest decrease if the matured funds left idle in cash?
Yes, while cash settlement does accrue interest, mostly the interest rate of cash settlement is lower than that of regular time deposit products. So if you leave the reserve in cash too long, the overall yield of your DC account may decrease.
Okay, I see. So for those who do not designate a default option product, checking the maturity date would be important. Then, Iris, can you explain when and how the default option activates in more detail?
Yes, of course. There are 2 cases when the default option operates. The first scenario is when a new contribution is deposited in account with no investment directions. In this case, the default option activates after 2 weeks from the date of contribution. So pension provider will notify participants that this new contribution will invest into default option after 2 weeks. But if participant didn't give instructions within this waiting period, the default option activates and the money will automatically invest into the product which you designated in advance. And for the second scenario is when there is a matured product in your account. In this case, the default option activates after 6 weeks from a date of maturity. The pension provider, as the same example, will notify participants that that product met its maturity. And after giving this notification, the pension provider waits for 4 weeks. And if there is no investment directions within this 4 weeks of waiting period, the pension providers will notify you once again and wait for another 2 weeks to invest into default option products.
All right, then the waiting period can vary between 2 weeks up to 6 weeks depending on whether the funds are new contributions or mature funds.
Yes, of course. So please be aware that the waiting period of 6 weeks only applies to the initial product maturity. The subsequent maturity reserves with the same product will be automatically invested in a default option product in the following day of maturity. So for better understanding of yours, please refer to example in the slide. Just let's suppose a fixed income deposit meet its maturity consecutively at 1 month's interval. And when the time deposit matures in June 1st, the asset will be invested into the default option in July 14th, which is like with 6 weeks of waiting period. However, after that initial product maturity, the default option will activate immediately when the product matures.
Oh, this seems quite reasonable then. So participants don't have to wait for 6 full weeks when the same time deposit matures subsequently. Okay, thank you so much for the details. Please summarize then the key points to remember about default option products.
Yeah, sure. So to summarize overall, the default option activates when there is no investment direction on new contribution and matured products. And employees can choose only one default option product in their account. However, when you own both DC and IRP accounts, you can designate different types of default option products in DC and IRP either. And you can select the default option product using mobile banking application or by visiting internet banking or the nearest branch. And always open to redesignating it.
All right, thank you for the fantastic summary. I feel well informed about the default option system and how it works. While we are discussing about DCplan and default option scheme, our viewers sent us some real-time questions about it. Due to time limit, let me share the most frequently asked question. Okay, we have number 1. I have my DC account invested 100% in the fund product. Will the default option be applied to this fund product after a certain period of time?
Okay, like for that question, the answer is no.
Oh, no.
The default option is applied to products with maturity dates like time deposits, GICs, or like for the fund products, for example, the target maturity funds and etc. So if you're investing into the fund that doesn't have maturity at all, the default option will not be applied for that reserve unless you sell it and buy PIGs later on.
Okay, thank you, Iris, for your time. That was so much clear. The time has come for the webinar to end already. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to everyone who participated in this seminar. Hope this session helped you a lot understand the Korean pension system and the default option scheme. The satisfaction survey link is posted in the live chat right now. We'll send a free Starbucks Americano coupon in June 26th to the first 200 participants who take part in the survey. Don't forget to consent to our usage of personal information, cell phone number to send you the Starbucks coupon. And also, please feel free to share your thoughts and opinions on the seminar. We'll take them into consideration to come back with even more informative session later on. Then, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you in the later seminar.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you all.